Hi everyone, and welcome to the Ari Writer channel. My name is Ari, and I went to Creator Clash 2. It was actually really enjoyable, and I documented a lot of my experience, so I'm really excited to show you guys some of my footage, and to talk to you guys about what it was like to see all kinds of creators that I've looked up to and really admired for many years. The fact that I saw Markiplier and Jacksepticeye as soon as I walked in was incredibly fun. And they were literally 20-30 feet away from me. There was a huge crowd in front of me, so I couldn't quite get the best shots of them, but I think these shots are pretty darn good. It was so surreal to see Mark and Sean right in front of me, and I had seen their videos for years prior, and had never really seen them in person, so it was really inspiring. After that, I went to go see my seat, and the view that I saw was incredible, and after the announcer got us riled up while they were setting up, just look at the crowd's reaction. First up was Jack Manifold and Dakota Olave. And while I know Jack a little bit and I've seen some of his content, especially when he collaborated with some of the other creators online, I had never heard of Dakota before. Seeing their fight was quite good, it was quite exciting, it was a pretty balanced fight, and overall very enjoyable. Next up was Jay LeRae versus Abelina Sabrina, and while the fight was a bit tough to watch, there was some decent movement, and the verdict, to me especially, was quite satisfying. Next up was Haley Sharp versus Marisha Ray, and that was quite an interesting fight. Lots of energy, lots of action, and really well done to both of them. In between one of their rounds, the entire stadium went wild, and they did a little bit of a light show and everybody got really excited and really ramped up for the next round. Next up was a fight that I was anticipating for a long time, because Aaron Hansen is a content creator that I've watched for many years. And he was up against Jarvis Johnson, who I didn't really know very well, but I've seen him do a couple of videos here and there. And it was really exciting to see both of them fight, and the chant that Aaron got during this part of the match was really exciting. Seeing Andrea Botes fight again for her second time was quite interesting, and now I got to see her in person. She was against Michelle Kerr, who I don't really know much about. I've actually just seen Andrea Botes' collaborations mostly and a little bit of her chess. And very fun to see that explosive match. I didn't film all the fights, but it was really great to see Dad again, aka Nathan Barnett, against Abe Ayad, and that fight was explosive, short, but not as short as last year's. No offense to Matt Watson, of course, but it was quite an interesting fight last year and this year, and Dad definitely has an explosive personality. I also saw Crank Gameplays, aka Ethan Nestor, against Leon Hart. I don't really know Leon Hart, but I have seen Ethan Nestor, especially during the Unus Honest phase of his career. And what an exciting fight, and to see him win, and to see how excited he was, and to see a lot of his friends and family get up and be really happy for him was really a special moment. Also, Alana Pierce versus Mika was great. I do know both of them, and it was nice to see them both fight it out, and their fight was rather good. Then there was also Myth versus Hundar, and that was an interesting fight. Very tough fight between two very good opponents, but Myth really showed that he has a lot of strength and a lot of endurance. So really well done to him. Chris Ray Gunn, what a surprising contender, against William Haynes, who I don't really know too much about. It was good to see them fight as well, and their fight was pretty good. And then Harley Morenstein from Epic Mealtime versus an actual wrestler, John Randall Heineken. That was a tough fight. It was a tough fight for Harley. He really tried his best. He is a big guy, but John Randall does have a bit more experience and more training, so it was a tough one. Kudos to both of them for really being positive, and their speeches at the end, I do remember, were really, really heartfelt and meaningful. And finally, right at the end, we had iDubbbz versus Alex Wassabi. I had no idea who Alex Wassabi was. I was surprised that he would be the final matchup against good old iDubbbz. And last year, iDubbbz did lose. It happened again this year too. But what a fight. He really, really doesn't pull his punches, and he does try his best. And it was just very exciting. The fact that neither of them were knocked out, and basically right at the end, they scored on points. It was a close one, I bet. And I think that they both did a great job. Alex turned out to be very energetic and a very good contender. And man, just seeing the speeches and people talking, people posing for photos and all kinds of things like that, it just felt so surreal to me, and it really was an amazing experience. Sadly, I didn't get to see all of the content creators, especially the ones that were behind the scenes and doing some commentary. Most notable was Moist Critical, of course, and having Charlie down there right by the ring giving some commentary, it would have been nice if we could hear it, but I know that it would have been a bit busy. But I did see the televised portion after the actual event, so I got to see the best of both worlds and compare my experience in person with what most people saw at home. Likewise, there were all kinds of people in the background doing lots of commentary and lots of pre-fight interviews, so Esfand and Amaranth did a great job. Both of them were really enjoyable, and it was great to see how they interviewed everybody before their fights, and a little bit after, of course. This was the first boxing event that I had ever been to, and I hadn't really been to anything related to creators in many, many years, if ever. So I was really excited, and the event didn't disappoint. It was really fun. I did enjoy the amenities. Seating seemed pretty good. The energy and the special effects in the entire stadium seemed to really give us all a spark of ignition, to give us that drive to say, wow, this can happen, and you can basically really see people from all avenues compete in a sport that they've never really done before. And so I think that was the most exciting part. And yes, it wasn't a fully fledged boxing event with actual professionals that really know what they're doing, but I don't think that really mattered. I think what mattered was that a lot of people from all over the United States and some from all over the world came together to really celebrate creators doing something special, especially for charity. So I do want to thank all of the organizers, and especially iDubbbz, who are coming up with a really cool event. I'm glad that I went in person, and hopefully there will be a next one of these years. I hope you all enjoyed this video. I had a lot of fun filming it and putting all the footage together. Once again, I'm the Ari Writer, and I hope to see you in the next one.